we have been chasing a ghost for over 15 years. Ever since Steve Jobs sat in that leather chair and swiped across the very first glass canvas, we have been promised a future where the computer disappears, and all that remains is the content. But year after year, we hit a wall. The hardware was beautiful, but the brain was limited. The screen was perfect, but the software was trapped. But now, as we look toward the horizon of 2026, something fundamental has shifted in the Silicon Valley winds. The rumors, the supply chain leaks, and the sheer trajectory of Apple's silicon had converged into a singular point of singularity, the A18 iPad. We are not just talking about a tablet anymore. We are talking about the device that finally, after nearly 2 decades of waiting, puts the nail in the coffin of the traditional laptop. This is the story of the 2026 iPad, powered by the A18 architecture, and why this specific machine is the most dangerous piece of technology Apple has ever created. To understand the gravity of the 2026 release, we have to look under the hood at the A18. This isn't just an iteration, it is a thermal and architectural revolution. We are looking at a chip likely built on the refined 2-nanometer process, a manufacturing feat that was considered science fiction just a few years ago. When you hold this device in 2026, you aren't holding a mobile processor. You are holding a desktop-class architecture that has been surgically altered for extreme efficiency. The A18 in the iPad isn't just about speed, it is about sustained performance. For years, the Pro in iPad Pro was a marketing term. In 2026, it becomes a literal description of physics. The leak suggests a new graphene-based thermal dissipation system that allows the A18 to run at peak frequencies without the throttling we saw in the M4 or M5 generations. Imagine rendering 8K video, compiling massive codebases, or running complex 3D simulations, and the glass remains cool to the touch. This chip brings the neural engine to the forefront. We are talking about an NPU capable of processing distinct local AI models directly on the device without ever pinging a cloud server. This is where the 2026 iPad separates itself from the Mac. The Mac is a tool you command. The A18 iPad is a tool that anticipates. It learns your workflow, it understands your context, and because of the A18's integration with the next generation of iPadOS, the line between touch and thought begins to blur. But raw power is useless without a canvas, and the display technology rumored for the 2026 cycle is terrifyingly good. We are moving past the dual-layer old we saw in previous generations. The 2026 leaks point toward a microlens array technology that pushes brightness to levels that mimic reality. This isn't just about watching movies, it's about HDR workflows that professional colorists used to need $30,000 reference monitors to achieve. And there is the form factor. The whispers from the supply chain are getting louder about a foldable hybrid model entering the lineup. Imagine a 20-inch canvas that folds down into a 13-inch notebook. Driven by the A18, this hybrid doesn't just run iPad apps. It virtualizes a desktop environment when docked. This is the holy grail, the Apple singularity, the moment where you no longer choose between a Mac and an iPad. The A18 iPad creates a sandbox where, finally, the software shackles are taken off. We expect to see a version of macOS virtualization, not the full OS, but a containerized version running specifically on the A18 to allow for terminal access, file management, and background processes that were previously banned on mobile devices. This is the pro feature that justifies the price tag. Let's talk about that ecosystem lock-in, because the A18 iPad is designed to be the central hub of your digital life. It is the brain for your Vision Pro headset, offloading heavy compute tasks wirelessly with near-zero latency. It is the ultimate controller for your smart home. But more importantly, it is the gaming console killer. With hardware-accelerated ray tracing reaching maturity in the A18 architecture, developers are no longer porting mobile versions of games. They are shipping the console binaries. You connect a controller, output to a 4000 monitor, and you have a PS5 class experience in a slab of glass that is thinner than a pencil. This is why the 2026 iPad matters. It represents the maturity of Apple's silicon. It represents the end of the post-PC era and the beginning of the ambient computing era. However, we must address the risks. The price of this innovation is steep. Apple is positioning the A18 iPad not as a companion device, but as a primary machine, and the pricing will reflect that. We are likely looking at a starting price that makes the MacBook Air look cheap, but for the creative professional, for the coder, for the digital nomad, the value proposition is undeniable. You are buying the future 3 years early. As we move closer to the launch, the question isn't should you buy an iPad. The question is why would you buy anything else? The A18 iPad 2026 is a statement. It is a declaration that the computer as we knew it is dead. Long live the glass. And as we sit here today, looking at the leaks, looking at the patent filings, one thing is crystal clear: the competition is not ready for what is coming. This device will define the next decade of personal computing. It is inevitable, and it is going to be magnificent.